All right, this is how my Trek Armors came. They were packaged, each seat individually. I have two boxes, one with the front passenger, one with the front driver, and then another box that has the rear seat. Anyway, to remove this on the 2013, there is a recess tab that you need to push in here. And also right there. You push those in simultaneously while lifting the headrest up and it will pop right off. Okay, it takes all of about 3 seconds. Once again, you depress this tab here and this tab here. What we're going to do is we're going to remove the seat back handle here. There's a small clip. See if I can do it. You just push it with your fingers. There we go. So I'm going to go ahead and give you a trick that I learned to put this cover on and get the flap in, and I'll be right back. Alright, when I did the passenger seat, I installed the back portion first and then did the cover. Do not do that. Install this portion first, okay? This is the seat bottom. That's what you want to install first, okay? We've already removed the headrest. Get you a plastic bag. Now this is a heavy, this is not like a shopping bag. It's a heavy plastic. You could even use a lawn and leaf bag, okay? Split it so that it will fit all the way across and then shove it in between the two seat cushions, the bottom and the top. So what you're left with is you've got the plastic sticking out just like that. All right, it's very slick. It's very easy to get through. Now the reason that we're doing this, okay, is because the bottom of the seat has a very fuzzy material. Now this gets caught on the bottom of the seat cover. All right, I still have that cover, but let me show you what the main problem is. This Velcro. When that Velcro touches that fuzzy part of the seat, you will not be able to get this through without great difficulty, okay? So what we're doing is we're putting this plastic on here, so when we slide this flap, and when we slide the flap, that is for the bottom, they each have a flap, this will act as a barrier so that the hook and loop, which is also called Velcro, does not grab onto the fuzzy part of the seat. So it'll slide very easily. Okay guys, this is what the bottom cover looks like. And what I've done is taking 18 inches of twine and put through both loops. Now you can use twine, you can use really thin nylon rope, whatever you want to use. This will be what we'll use in the back to pull this flap through. Again, this Velcro right here is the main problem. Because it wants to grab on the fuzzy part of the two seats. If you put the plastic bag on there and then you put this twine on there, you'll be able to shove the twine through, grab the twine, and pull this flap. This is the hardest part of the entire job. Alright, here we go. We're going to install the bottom cover. There is a hook and loop Velcro section here that will go around this handle right here. That's a seat height adjuster handle. So there's no need to remove that. First thing is you want to get the seat cover kind of generally positioned and take the twine that you've already put on here and just shove through the back like that. Both pieces. Okay, now I've got the twine sticking through the back portion of the seat. Now what you want to do is go back to the front portion. Make sure this is not come off. This is going to go around like this. Just get it in a general position. You want to make sure the bag is underneath the cushion itself. Okay, here's where having a friend helps. I'm having to do this by myself, obviously, so if you had somebody on the front, somebody pulling from the rear on the twine, it'd take a little less time. And as you see, the flap's starting to come through. Once it comes through, it's no problem. Just go back up here. Since I'm by myself, I'm working and making sure that this is going on properly. Just take your time with it. Making sure that the portion over here clears the seat belt. Now remember, again, I told you that the only reason for that bag is to keep the Velcro from hitting the carpeted or fuzzy portion of the seat. So I'm going to go ahead and readjust the bottom, get everything pulled through, and we'll be right back. Okay, I've got everything on here. The only place I had a little bit of a problem that doesn't line up 100% perfect is right around here. But pretty much that's the way that it goes on there. So the hole's lining up good. It's just, you know, it's not going to be 100% perfect, but the cover is nice and tight. Fits well. Okay, now, once you have the back flap completely through there, I've pulled it tight as I can. Okay, just take the bag, pull the bag out. Okay, so what you're left with is, we're going to cut the twine, but this Velcro portion is going to stick on this carpeted portion, basically just like that. And I obviously am going to cut the twine off. Now, we're going to reuse this bag. When we install the upper vertical portion, it's going to get, the Velcro is going to start grabbing this portion here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the bag back on. I'm going to slide the bag back in. It goes in very, very easy. And then I'll have a barrier for the other flap. And then when I get everything on, I'll pull the bag back out. Okay, I've got the back cover just barely on the seat. So I've got this flap free. I've got this flap free. I've got this flap free right here. And in the back, I've got the Velcro out. Sometimes when you put it on, it'll want to ride up like that. You got to put your hand in there and make sure that everything's free. Now, all I'm going to do is I'm going to start pulling down this side, that side, and alternating like that to get this entire cover down. I'm going to attempt to do this with the camera. Again, as I've said many times before, if you have somebody that can help you, they can be pulling on the back portion while you're pulling on the front. But just take your time with it. Now, one thing that does help is to pull the bolster in as you're pulling it down or having your friend pull it down. I don't know how the install with cloth seats is going to go. There's going to be a little bit more friction there with the cloth seat than there will be with the leather. But we're just going to continue to pull down. Okay, before you pull it all the way down, kind of make sure that it's squared up, because it's a lot easier to adjust it at this point before we go. So I'm just alternating side by side. Okay, it looks like it's pretty much lined up. These wrinkles will work themselves out. You've got a pocket back here that you can use as storage. Alright, so what I've done is I've pulled the piece of plastic trash bag that I'm using through a little bit further than I did to do the bottom, because what I'm going to have to do is get it between here and here, because this is what I'm trying to avoid the Velcro touching. And I've got my piece of twine right here, so I'm just going to take my hand and shove the twine through. Alright, I've got the covers complete, the flaps completely through. I went ahead and attached it to the Velcro, or the Velcro to the fuzzy part. I went ahead and cut my twine off. I did have to use needle nose pliers just on the very edge over here to pull it through. It was so tight. The key, alright, the key to this is installing this cushion cover first and using that plastic bag and the twine. You will not have to use any plastic handled anything to shove the flaps through. These seat covers are a pain to put on, but man, do they look good. Very, very pleased. The fit and finish on them, fit and finish is excellent. So I'm going to go ahead and put this handle back on both sides, and we'll be right back. Before I forget, I wanted to realize I didn't explain how to position the clip in here. You've got this clip, and there's a groove on the side. So this is just like an old door handle clip that some of the older cars used to have. And what you want to do, let me see if I can do this with one hand, is the clip in its installed position is like that. By pushing out on the clip like that is how you disengage. So all you got to do is push this on, put your finger in there, and push the clip that way. Alright, there's the manager. So, diesel. Alright, your front headrests come packaged just like this. That is a front headrest. Really like the packaging. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter which headrest you use, they're both the same. But again, they have little Velcro tabs to get a really, really tight fit. Okay? So this is the way the headrest is. This is the front, that's the rear, and we're going to just slide it on to the headrest. Now obviously, again, I can't do this, I have no third hand, so I'll be right back. Alright, so there's the finished product. There's Velcro again, as I told you before, tabs there and right there, and also one in the middle. The only thing that I don't like about this setup is I think the Velcro should go all the way across. There's only a piece of Velcro right there, but you can see the tilt of the headrest. I think I told you before initially it went the other way, but that part goes to the back. So anyway, that headrest is ready to go in when we do cut our holes. I'm going to go ahead and put the other headrest on. Alright, here we are again. I vacuumed the interior out a little bit from that twine. It makes a mess. But installed seat covers minus the headrests. Very, very pleased. Pleased with the quality. I could probably install these now, I would say, in about 10 to 15 minutes each side. If there's one piece of advice I could give you, actually two pieces of advice, make sure to install the bottom cover first. Use the plastic bag and string trick. Alright, the final step in the process for completing our front seat cover install is to cut the holes for the front seat headrest. Now this is probably the point where most people are most intimidated, These are $550 set of seat covers, and you're actually going to be taking one of these. It's either called a hobby knife or an X-Acto knife. These cost about $3.50. I got this one at Home Depot. You're going to be cutting the holes for the headrest post to go in. Now there's two schools of thought here, and let me explain. The first thing is, if you remember the first part of the video, I showed you that there's a black trim ring, which is about the outline here, and there's the center hole where the post actually goes in. Now, in thinking this through, what I'm really wanting you guys to think about is to let these seat covers sit on here at least several weeks before you cut the hole, and let me explain why. When you sit in the seat, it takes the cover and slightly moves it forward. All right, these covers are tight on the seat, but they're not tight enough where they don't shift slightly. So if you were to cut the hole out about this big, or maybe just a hair smaller, and then try to tuck it under the black trim ring, that would work. However, as the seat covers settle in over time, they may shift to the point where it's starting to maybe pull forward a little bit and start to rip. The other concern is you have the tab release here on this side, and here, remember that it's recessed. So what I'm going to do is I'm not going to go that direction. I'm not going to go that route. I'm going to just cut out the hole in the middle of both sides. Now I have tested. You can see my finger. I'm pushing the tab in there, and right there is the tab, and you can push it in. Okay, so it's not 100% necessary that you cut out the hole big enough so that you can see the plastic trim wing. If you want to do that, that's fine, but just know that it is possible that these covers will shift over time, and if you ever take them off, you would have to get them back on pretty much exactly the way they were. And also remember that when you cut the hole out this big, you can't ever put that material back. If it does shift, you may have to cut it out a little bit more on either side to compensate for the cover moving. So as I said, I'm just going to cut out the center hole here because I'm confident that even with this fabric over the black plastic part, I can still, I'm feeling it right now, I can still push that in, and this side of course is the easiest. Now, that's why you want to use one of these utility knives. I recommend that you get one like this that's got a really, really thin blade, and it's got a very sharp tip. The reason this is better than, say, a regular utility razor blade is that when you cut out this hole, you want something that's very, very small so you can go all the way around it. Now, these covers have been on here for about a week and a half. I'm still not confident that they're settled in where they're going to move, so I'm not actually going to cut this hole out on the video and show you. But as I said before, you can either do it where you cut out the entire hole for the black trim ring, or just cut out the middle. If you start out in the middle and decide later you want to cut it out to where the fabric fits underneath the outside of the trim ring, then you can do that. So it may be wise to just start and doing it like I'm doing it, just cut out the hole. Anyways, once you cut the hole out, just put your headrest back in, the post back in, and it'll lock in. And I think you'll be pleased with the results. So if you guys want to see any other type of videos on the Jeep Wrangler JK, if you have any comments about the Trek armor, maybe some other tricks I didn't share on the video that people would benefit by, then just leave a comment directly below. Thanks, everybody.